It began as an ordinary evening in a quiet village. Children played outside, families prepared their dinners, the sun set behind the hills of Cameroon, and Lake Nyos shimmered under the fading light. But that night, August 21st, 1986, something unimaginable was about to happen, and within just a few hours, over 1,700 people would be dead. No war, no fire, no flood. The killer was invisible, and it came from the lake itself. Lake Nyos is what scientists call a crater lake. It sits on top of an ancient volcano. But unlike a typical volcano, this one doesn't erupt with fire and lava. Instead, the magma beneath the lake quietly leaks carbon dioxide into the water. For years, the gas built up at the bottom, trapped under immense pressure. No one living near the lake had any idea, but all it would take was one trigger: a landslide, heavy rain, even just the wrong mix of temperatures to disturb that delicate balance. And when it happened, the lake turned into a weapon. On that August night, villagers heard what they thought was thunder. A deep rumbling boom echoed across the hills. Some said it sounded like an explosion. Others described it as if the earth itself had cracked. Then came the water. A towering wave, 80 feet high, surged out from the lake and swept across the shore, tearing trees from the ground. But the wave wasn't the real danger. The real killer was silent. As the lake foamed and churned, a massive cloud of carbon dioxide burst free from the depths. Invisible, odorless, deadly, the heavy gas crept down the valleys, hugging the ground like a rolling fog. It displaced the oxygen in the air, suffocating everything in its path. People didn't even have time to scream. Some collapsed where they stood. Others fell mid-step while trying to flee. Even animals weren't spared. Cows, goats, birds. Entire herds dropped lifeless to the ground. By morning, silence hung over the valleys. Bodies lay scattered across homes, fields, and roads. Entire families gone. The survivors described scenes that sounded unreal. One man awoke to find 23 of his relatives dead. Another stumbled through the village, calling out to neighbors who never answered. A truck driver entering the area the next day said, "It was like driving into a nightmare. People slumped over cooking fires, children motionless beside their toys, livestock lying where they grazed. There were no signs of struggle, just stillness. In total, over 1,700 people and 3,500 animals died that night. And the strangest part, most showed no injuries at all. It was as if life had been switched off with a button. Quick break. We make videos about real stories that sound made up. From survival to strange true events, if it actually happened and it's unbelievable, we cover it. So if you're into that, hit subscribe. It helps more than you know. All right, let's get back to the video. At first, no one understood what had happened. Rumors spread. Was it a chemical weapon, a volcanic eruption, even divine punishment? But scientists soon discovered the truth. Lake Nyos had experienced what's called a limnic eruption, one of the rarest and deadliest natural disasters on Earth. The lake had effectively burped, releasing an enormous cloud of CO2 that suffocated everything in its path. The blast was so powerful that experts estimate the lake expelled over 1.2 cubic kilometers of gas in just minutes. That's enough to fill 500,000 Olympic swimming pools. And the scariest part? Lake Nyos wasn't the only one. Other crater lakes in the region were also quietly filling with gas. Scientists warned that it could happen again, at any time. In the years since, massive pipes have been installed to vent the gas safely from the lake's depths. The system releases it slowly, like a giant soda bottle being uncapped over decades instead of seconds. But the memory of that night still lingers. Villagers rebuilt, but the trauma remained. Families lost entire bloodlines in a single evening, and for survivors, the silence of that night was louder than any storm. Today, Lake Nyos looks peaceful again. Tourists snap photos of its calm blue waters, never realizing what once happened here. But beneath the surface, scientists know it will always be a place to watch. Because nature doesn't always need fire or flood to destroy. Sometimes the deadliest threat is the one you can't even see. He didn't carry a weapon. There was no enemy army, no warning siren. Just a quiet lake and a cloud of gas that stole the breath of an entire village. Real story that sounds made up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. If you want more stories like this, we've got another one waiting for you right here.